This is 𝗟𝗘𝗧𝗦𝗏 from MassMailer, and thank you so much once again for joining the webinar today. I'm going to talk about a topic that got into my discussion when I was talking to another client on how to capture user input from a button click in an email campaign. I would touch base on this at a very high level. Plan to do another webinar on the same topic. But I just want to give you an idea on what you could do if you already have certain infrastructure and some dev team or web team that's actually helping you out. I just want to kind of throw this idea, hey, this is possible. And I'll show you how. If you are familiar with Salesforce, the MassMailer template building part of it, not Salesforce, but the MassMailer one. And if you ever used a button, let's just talk about the button today. It could be a link as well, like a regular link. Let's say if you have a button, the button actually takes few types of actions, one of which is a URL. We'll again focus only on the URL. So I'm sure like when somebody clicks on a button, you want them to go to a specific page or do something, right? That's kind of an action that's taken by the recipient. What you could do, you could actually have a URL that's taking an action, like a form URL, a landing page URL. And how do you build that? You could actually build it using plain vanilla, the WordPress form or any other form, or it could be just built in Salesforce platform. It could be very old Visual Force page or a brand new Lightning page, Lightning component, some sort of a form that you have to build. And ultimately, your goal must be you want to capture the user input, right? And take an action. Maybe you want to update the same record, the contact record, the lead record, or do something, right? But that logic and, that action, that intelligence has to come from that landing page, and not just the landing page and the component that's actually the listener that's actually working behind that landing page. So basically, it's more like a web server form, right? Simple, plain words. So you have to have that infrastructure ready. And again, I'm going to only touch base how it looks like, the button syntax and the URL syntax and everything. But I plan to do another webinar though, to actually show you a live working form. We would quickly create a POC or something on those lines, and I'll show you what you could do. I may need some inputs, typically what kind of user input that you really want to have, so that we can actually build that POC, and next time we can always demo that. But this actually would give you some idea on, how to implement this. So, and again, URL would have parameters. If you're not technical, that's okay. And I'll show you, and you will be able to figure that out very quickly. So you have to pass some information so that you can identify that action, like it could be a campaign name, contact ID, or some sort of a order number, whatever it may be, right? So you need to have some information that is unique for each recipient that needs to be tracked on the button URL. And how do I do that? How do you do that? I'll show it to you. That's pretty simple because you know how the merge fields work in MassMailer. And again, when somebody clicks on this button, it should take the user to a certain form or a Salesforce landing page, whatever you want to call it out, that's okay. And some logic need to be working behind that form that's actually taking this user input and processing it and storing that back into Salesforce. And typically, it's easy to build a form in Salesforce, not that complicated, and write some Apex code behind the scenes and plug it in together and do whatever you want to do, right? So let's say you want to send an email. If somebody clicks on that particular form, you want to take an action saying that contact responded, or maybe something, I don't know, whatever it is, right? So you want something to be done for that contact or lead, you can write back to that contact, write back to that particular lead as well, or take any other action. All of that logic can be part of your Apex component or Apex class, the class that you write, assuming you want to build this in Salesforce, right? And how is the URL going to look like? It's, and I've given just an example here, the form url.com. And this could be a long thing, which is salesforce.com and visualforce.salesforce.com, whatever it may be. It's basically a URL, right? And you pass on certain properties here in the form of parameters. Again, I just hard-coded here, param1, contact name, param2, contact ID, just for simplicity, right? So this is just to give you an idea that you have to pass that information into this URL. And again, since you're using MassMailer, we would be identifying that unique value for each URL parameter, and we will append that for the button. So your job is only to identify, hey, what is that I need to feed through this button to that component that's working behind the scenes. And again, your developer or the architect would know what they need from the button click to process that information and post that back into Salesforce. So you basically have to like tell your team, dev team, that, hey, I need this to be done. And this is what MassMailer told us, that you can write or basically have the unique string passed through the button click, and rest of the magic need to happen in that Lightning page component or whatever component that they are building for you. And in that component, they can actually process all that information and do whatever you want to do back into the lead record, contact record, opportunity, order, invoice, whatever it may be. So that's something that they can take care of, right? And I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Just want to show you that this is a button and you can pass this URL here. And I'll show you that live on the template here. So again, you're all familiar with this MassMailer template builder. I pulled up a template that I already built, and all I'm doing here is, I have this button, as you can see, the content item, and like your URL, again, this could be something unique that your developer is going to give to you, and you just have to pass this information. Param1, again, you can replace the names, that's okay. And param2, contact name, in the param1 and param2 is going to hold contact ID, for an example, right? And you can have any other information. It doesn't need to be coming as a merge field. I would just throw an example. If you want to add, say, param3, you can call this as campaign name or whatever, right? And that could be a campaign name. I would just call this as a campaign, right? And instead of param3, you can say, this is my campaign name, right? Something on those comments. So that way, you know that it's coming from, so it's a campaign, and you're posting that back into anywhere in Salesforce. Again, I just want to give you kind of heads up on what can be done. We have not done any working prototype here. Pretty easy though. If you have a tech team, or if you want to hire MassMailer to build something like this, we can always build that component for you and do this behind the scenes. And that's part of our professional services, as you know. So that's about it. In the next webinar, I plan to do like a live example of a real form URL here that's going to take you to the page when you send out an email and the end user actually clicks on it, and you capture that input and post it back into Salesforce. I plan to do that webinar as well, but I want to kind of give an idea on what could be done if you actually have a tech team and you have some ideas on what you want to be done. You can actually take this and give it to your team, and they can build this for you. Okay. Any questions? I know it's going to be a very short webinar here. So any questions, I'm happy to take it. Just post a question in the chat window or speak up, either ways. And that form can host anywhere. You can host it in Salesforce. You can host it on your website. It could be a WordPress form, or if you already have a landing page tool that you're using, it could be that. It could be anything. And again, we plan to build landing page feature in the upcoming release. So we're just waiting for certain things to finish off in the current release that we have. And after which we would pick up the landing pages feature. So that point in time, you would just use MassMailer landing page here. You don't have to do anything. Most probably we'll do the basic functionality for landing page, posting certain information back into that record, provided you pass the reference for that particular object. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so is a URL required to accomplish this? Is it possible to capture user input just off the button click without sending them to a landing page or a different website? So we are talking about a URL here, so it has to be a URL because, you know, I'm not sure how you're going to capture that information back though. So like let me show you. When somebody clicks on this button, what are the options we have? Send an email. If you want this to be done, that's fine. Open a web page, right, which is the URL here, and make a call, SMS. I'm assuming these two are not an option for you. So send an email is simply you want somebody to send an email back. Let's say this is the reply address, and I'm interested in your offer, something like that, right? In your offer. And hello, and so basically when they click on that button, and this basically shows up, and if they use Outlook, Gmail, whatever, it basically populates this information. And you can always pass that information like a merge field here, like an example. You want this to be, I don't know, hands and contact name, right? You don't want them to type in the name, you could do that. So this works fine, right? And again, I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for, or if you want some data to be processed, this has to be a URL. And the URL is basically, you know, that component is hosted on a server, right? I hope that kind of clarifies. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay. Seems like no questions here. And again, I plan to do another webinar that would actually give you more clarity on what's happening. And once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. This is a weekly webinar that I do. Next week, again, another topic. And if you're new to MassMailer, feel free to contact us. If you have any further, need any further information, or if you're an existing customer, that's fine. Just send us an email. Here is our contact information, and we also offer a free trial for our new clients. Here is the URL. Just go to our website and click on the free trial. Okay. So again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. You can expect an email from me again with a recording for this and the next week topic as well. Take care. Have a good day. Have a good day.